Yeah, HighLevel is awesome.
It works. It does what you need it to do. I love it.
You're talking about their schools, their communities, not the school platform.
The school system is woefully unprepared for what's happening technologically, what's happening in the world.
How did you get to where you're now?
The only perfection you're going to get is lying. And so when you realize that perfection is a lie, but excellence is achievable, right, things get really freaking awesome.
This is a really good topic. Perfection is something I struggle with. What's the urge? Have to have it perfect. I hate to do things half-assed.
So what you just said in your question is one of the problems. None of this is me saying do it half-assed. What's half-assed to me today, 5 years ago, was full-assed. What is the winning principle in business? There's only one thing that matters, right? It's only one thing is, does it make money?
Yeah, Kev, if somebody comes up to you and is like, mate, can you help me out? Am I at my true capacity here standing in front of you?
So you're not dead. So you're not at your full capacity. Game's over when we die. Let's not rush life like a race or like some kind of business process. Life is more like a dance. The purpose of it is not to finish it, it's to enjoy it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience podcast. Today's guest is no stranger to transformation. He's not just a mindset coach. He's the kind of leader who helps you burn down the BS and rebuild your life, business, and leadership from the inside out. He's coached over 40,000 people, worked side by side with Garrett J. White as the head coach for Wake Up Warrior, and now runs programs helping entrepreneurs become who they were actually meant to be, not who the internet says they should be. He's on a mission to wake up the sleeping giants in leaders and founders with no fluff, no hacks, just raw, powerful systems that work. If you're ready to stop playing small and start building something legendary, this one's for you. Please welcome to the show, fellow high leveler, Coach Kevin Voisin.
Hey, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Been using HighLevel forever, since the year that it came out, and it's helped me in my growth. I've seen it help so many people. And like life, it's completely overwhelming. I so often have clients like, man, I looked in the back and it's so overwhelming. I'm like, yeah, because it does what you need it to do, which is be an entrepreneur, which is overwhelming. So so you get used to it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All the cool tools, all the cool features. I got to say, over the years, I've been using so many different tools, right? Calendly and all those things. I always get excited about, new tool. But over those years, I just kept adding more tools to my toolbox that I had to log into separately. So yeah, HighLevel is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it took us from a cost of about $3,000 a month to about $250 a month total. And so it's a no-brainer for us, and we've just been helping more and more coaches and more businesses convert over because it works. It does what you need it to do, and I don't know. I love it. I'm just a really big fan. When I signed, it didn't do everything, but it's just what's fun about it is how it evolves and grows, and they don't seem happy to just sit where they are, which is really nice as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we're talking about it, I was going to ask a couple of questions. What's your favorite feature?
So this is crazy because I think 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, I would have, before the last Go Collab update, I would have said this is my least favorite. But the social community feature is amazing. We run everything out of there. We make that a hub for everything in the coaching community. We have right now, I think, 12 different programs. So man, woman, like a men's program, a women's program, couples program. We have a system of schools that we've launched to help fix, the state of education. And we use that community platform to just connect everyone. And we have kind of a standard thing. If you're in any of our stuff, hey, here's the place where you just post. It's a social wall. Here's where you find all of the replays. Here's topical content from the coaches that you can comment on, but no one else can post. We're using the events. We're using the learning. I mean, it's really cool. It's really all in one place. And with the latest Go Collab update, it just works really well also.
What's the latest Go Collab? I'm not familiar with that one. What's that one?
I don't know what they did, but the last time that they updated Go Collab, all of a sudden all the community stuff just is smooth as butter. Everything makes sense. All of the uploading and everything else works. So thank you to the update gods, whoever it is at UHL that put that together, but it's been great. But the community section really for us gives us a place to interact. And then because it's connected to the rest of Go HighLevel, then we can text people, then we can email people, we can get them into whatever programs they want. But with a off Facebook, off Google kind of community that's ours, that if anyone's advertising inside of that community, is us and not who knows where. We used to do a lot of Facebook groups and we did things like that, but it was just crazy. Like we would grow a big Facebook group just to have Meta serve competing coaches ads to that whole population because they knew, oh, they're in a coaching group, so here's another one. And it just didn't work
Right.
for us.
Yeah. So you had groups on Facebook. Now you've got communities. You like them. They work. They're smooth. I use them in my SaaS for my customers too. I got to say, it's epic. The channels, how you can, like you said, how you can segment different focus things, where people can post, where people can't post, more of a view only. And it's awesome. Question I've got is, if you had Facebook groups, now you've got communities, how did you deal with the transition?
It was just ugly. We were actually using, so we went from Facebook over to Workplace because they had the Facebook had their Workplace for a while. And so that was like a private community. You paid
Oh,
$3 or $4
that's
to
like
use it.
5 years ago or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we from there it was great because Meta just ended the project. So it was awesome. So we just told everyone, hey, we don't have a choice. Let's go. We were looking for an excuse. I think that if you're going to transition from anything that's bigger like that to communities, you just have to make the break and explain why. Hey, when we do this, here's the benefits to you, and here's how you're going to get better access to us without a bunch of noise of other things. And so for us, it was just that. It was just, we're doing this. It's going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but we'll get used to it. And that's exactly what happened.
And what do you think is better? Do it like a really switch off on the day and go, or have a bit of a buffer period?
I personally, I like for everyone in my community to win when they lose. So if they're going to lose, meaning they're going to have a big tech jump, because I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's better or worse. Any kind of tech bump, any kind of new app I have to get is just annoying. So I want the audience to win for having lost. So we just were like, hey, we're putting out this new content and here's this bonuses that you're going to get. And they're all on the new platform. So here's some bonus lessons and here's some really cool stuff you can only get over there. So we want you to win for having the bump, but you're going to just have to take the bump. I personally just love, we just turned it off. Like no new content will come on this day. And then all your old content will no longer be available 3 months from now. If you want to download it, great. If you want to do whatever you want to do, but you got today, we're over here. And then in 3 months, that's the only place you can log into.
I
We
love it.
did that because we had guys who had been doing a lot of assignments and posting videos for, years. So we wanted to give them time to download their stuff. If that's not true for you, if you don't have all of that, I think it's just, hey, here's the values over here. If you want to stick around over there, that's fine. But all the values over here. I think most people have transition problems because of their mindset. Is like you start to project like then the customer's going to have a problem. So yeah, great, they will. So just overcome that with value, and then just go put all the value, just go double the value over at the new place. And then people are excited to change because wow, ever since we got to the new platform, look at the access we get. Maybe now this is one-on-one sign up we never used to have, and now here it is, and we can get a meeting. If you can have the customer winning for switching, that helps.
Yeah, what's the saying? You can't have this and eat the cake too, or something like that. Yeah, you just have to do go all
Yeah,
in.
you
Yeah,
can't have your cake and eat it too. I just eat it.
that's right. Yeah, you just go for it. And plus, you can schedule content into your groups, and you can email out people. And plus, you got these cool little like weekly summaries as well now. So it's pretty epic.
One
I
of the,
know.
it's funny. This almost got my executive assistant in trouble the other day because we have a flow and it's, okay, I make the content, then it's edited, then it's approved. And I kind of see, okay, here's what's going to go out today. Here's what's going out the next day. We have this flow that we use in ClickUps. And I noticed like there's like nothing for 2 weeks. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, how have you, there's nothing today. Like I'm getting really aggressive. And she's, oh no, I found the scheduler. Like everything's scheduled for the next 21 days.
So,
It's off. It's already done.
so now she's doing it directly in Social Planner as opposed
Yeah.
to ClickUp, is what you hear.
She went from demotion to raise. Oh, great. That's awesome. Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Everything just goes through the social scheduler now and works really well. Like using the social scheduler with the community has been just a real benefit. It's also the community aspect has also helped us in communicating with our folks because when we're making subgroups, tagging can be onerous and sometimes tagging can be kind of counterintuitive. And what's really nice is when we want to talk to, hey, let's just talk to everyone who's in the men's group. We literally now just pull a list of who's in the social group because we know they're good and we police it really there. And so it's kind of a double check on our tagging system.
Yeah, because when you're creating smart lists, I've noticed that the other day, you can actually create a smart list, and there's a filter for which group is who's in what
It,
group is at. So, yeah, it's awesome, and it works really well. I literally
it
had one old customer So I kicked her out of the group, and then I refreshed my smart list, and the number just updated by one less. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
And
great.
what's nice, like a use case for us that makes that really nice is like we have 150 schools. So we have these affiliates, the people who own the schools, but then they can also put their coaches, like the people who are running the schools, inside of the social network. And so for us to send to them with tags is really complicated because we have to be like, oh, let's find our affiliates, and then we need to find affiliate coaches, and then they need to be current updated affiliate coaches. But or we can just send to everyone who's in the social group because we really police well when people's statuses change. So it just makes it really simple if you want to get a quick message out to a certain group of people.
Just to clarify, you're talking about schools, you're talking about their schools, their communities, not the school platform.
So not yeah. So we have Apogee schools. So one of the things as a coach, one of the things I've seen over the last 5 years, right, with my own children, but also in general, is that the school system is woefully unprepared for what's happening technologically, what's happening in the world. And so Matt Bodro and I, as a part of Apogee Strong, if you go to apogeestrong.com, you can see these. We with our partners, we really said, hey, let's be the solution. We don't want to bitch about the school system not working. Again, a lot of great people in the school system. It just can't keep up. I mean, hell, I feel like if I don't watch the news every 3 minutes, I can't keep up with what's happening with AI right now. But the school system hasn't kept up. And rather than just yell about it, we said, hey, what would the solution be? What would a modern, useful school that created leaders, problem solvers, entrepreneurs, people who want to be the solution, what would that look like? So came up with a model on how to do that. We now have over 100, well over 100, reaching up into 150 schools across the US, one in Australia, two in Canada, and we have a couple others coming up internationally. But the idea is, how do you build a free thinking leader who can operate in results rather than someone who can memorize facts and check off lists of boxes. So when I say school, I'm talking about Apogee schools, the actual schools. We have a community of over 150 schools.
How do you spell that? Apogee?
It's APOGEE schools.com. We definitely broke the first rule of the internet, make it easy to spell. We did not do that.
Apogee schools. Okay. Lander. Here we go. I don't think I've got a right website. APOGEESCHOOLS.com.
It's if you go to apogeestrong.com, sorry.
Apogee Strong.
Apogeestrong.com.
Okay, that'll do.
There you go.
I'm going to drop these links for you guys in the show notes as well. Okay. Apogee, Leaders in Purpose, Micro School Blueprint.
Perfect.
So this is something that other coaches can sign up and help spread this in the world. I help other schools as well.
Yeah. Help our kids to have a way forward and to use AI to their benefit instead of be trapped trying to learn more than AI. I think that's what I see in a lot of the school system. It's pretend like it doesn't exist. I remember when I was young, that they would tell me, you have to memorize your times tables because it's not like you're going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket. Right. I mean, my teachers literally said, and I'm like, no, you're right. This isn't a calculator. It's a calculator and a supercomputer with AI that's read everything the world ever put out multiple times a week. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. So we're living in a different reality than what the school system was prepared for. Hey, the school system was amazing for a long time. Thank God we had it. It helped us through the Industrial Revolution, figure out, how to get what we needed. But the world is changing and school needs to change. And really what's crazy is school really needs to go back to what it was before, which is smaller classrooms, mentor led, people learning together on projects and learning how to actually put stuff out. It's funny how the education system stopped mimicking the life system. It's almost like there's school and there's life, and those two things never cross, and they're totally different. But somehow doing good in this is going to mean you're good at that. And we have more of a school system that's based on making you effective and great at life. And so when you get into life, you can do it. For my 11-year-old just did a business fair, and his takeaway from the business fair was, Dad, I want a business that has profit, not revenue, because I spent a lot of money, but I really didn't make anything. And I was like, kid, I had to fail 2 businesses and I was 42 before I learned that. So, I mean, if at 11, he's telling me that, we're doing something
smart, right. Very smart. Yeah, that's good. Kev, can you give us like a bit of a TLDR of a bit of your journey? How did you get to where you're now? You've worked with some epic people.
Yeah. Sure.
And you're doing some epic stuff. Know much about.
Yeah. Let me tell you the cliff notes, right? I'm born an 8th generation oysterman in South Louisiana. right? So eighth generation, which in America is forever long. Other countries, I know that's really short. If I was from Japan, that would be nothing. But in America, eighth generation is almost impossible. Grew the family oyster business from 1.2 million to about 15 million a year as a one-man sales and marketing team. Kind of topped out what we could do. We grew really the biggest oyster company and brand on the earth at the time. And I just wanted to spread my wings. Like I would say, hey, I'm going to go do this marketing thing, right? Got into digital marketing back. This is like web 1.0 days, right? I built my first website when I was in 1998. Back before, I remember when websites were this funny thing that was silly if you had one. And then all of a sudden, so that's 1998 is, haha, what is this? What is this email thing? And then all of a sudden, 2005, if you don't have a website, you're not a serious business. And I see this same pattern with AI right now, although I think it's going to happen much quicker. But I see this same pattern with AI right now where it's, yeah, this is this funny, interesting thing. Some of us, I think most of the people listening to this understand how serious it is, but a lot of the world is, oh, this is cute. But I mean, you give it 3 years, you're going to have this or you're out. You're going to have this working for you or you're going to work for it in some way or fashion. I was a marketer. I was a digital, technician kind of a guy. But I always was a coach. And I ended up going to Wake Up Warrior. You mentioned that in the bio. I went to their event and just loved it and just kept going to events until eventually I was coaching the events and coached them until eventually I was the head coach. The end of my marketing career at the time was me going to one of my clients. She handed me a big check. It was like a $20,000, whatever the monthly budget was. And I said, cool, I'm excited for what we're going to do this month. Let me tell you about it. And she said, you really believe in what we're going to do? I'm like, yeah. She says, okay, cool. Can we just talk about my marriage? Because honestly, I trust you on that. And I really just want to talk about this other thing. It seems like when I talk to you about relationship stuff, things get done. And for me, it was like, oh, wow, she's paying me to do marketing so that I'll come sit here and handle her life. Maybe I'm actually just a coach and I can leave the marketing thing out and just do the coaching thing. And yeah, it's been a wild ride ever since. I wouldn't say perfect. Definitely have made a ton of mistakes. Biggest revelation I've had, Vit, is that I can tell you that here's a nugget for all of your listeners. All right. I can tell you how to be perfect, like how to be perfect in business, how to be perfect in visuals, how to be perfect, whatever it is you're doing, right? You want the perfect automation. I'll tell you right now, you ready? You can be perfect. All you have to do is lie. Just lie, just lie. And then you're perfect because that's really the only perfection you're going to get, right? Is lying. And so when you realize that perfection is a lie, but excellence is achievable, right? Perfection is cool. It's a great standard. Perfection is created by your mind. It's like the horizon, right? The horizon doesn't actually exist. There's not actually a point where the sky and the land meet. Your mind generates that to help you understand your surroundings, right? And so you could walk for 1,000 miles, but you'll never touch the horizon. But in the same thing with perfection. Perfection's cool. You see a project, you're like, oh, it should do this. Great. That's a great standard. But the chances that you have calculated everything that goes into this are next to zero. And as you get closer to this, you'll start seeing some of the hurdles you didn't see from far away, just like the horizon. And so perfection will always move in front of us. It's a great standard. It helps us figure out where to aspire to. But what we really want to do is work on excellence. Hey, is this good? I see a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They keep looking for the perfect product instead of shipping something useful. Ship something useful and make it better. Ship something useful, make it better. And if you just keep making it more and more useful, what do you know? Things get really freaking awesome. Now, have we had innovation in shoes over the last 200 years? Yeah, but they look kind of damn near the same. Why? Because our feet didn't change, right? Okay, great. We got some new materials. We got some new shapes. But at the end of the day, generally the same thing because our feet haven't changed. Our feet aren't perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a really good topic. Perfection is something I struggle with. It's something I know a lot of people in the community struggle with. There's still a lot of people who never launch. They are waiting for perfection until they get it done properly. I'm kind of like that oftentimes too. And I wonder, why is that? And I'm not talking about perfection. Like, what's the urge? Like for me, like this urge is have to have it perfect. I hate to do things half-assed. I don't know if it's the way I was raised, the way I was growing up. I don't know, but
But
it is.
so what you just said in your question is one of the problems because I won't do anything half-assed. Okay, I don't want to. None of this is me saying do it half-assed, but whatever the full amount of my ass, whatever my ass is capable of right now, is going to grow over time, right? So what's half-assed to me today, 5 years ago was full ass. It was maybe a little bit more than I could handle, right? And I think this is it, especially in the age of the internet, right? And it's, hey, do you want to be a successful businessman? Sure. Okay, cool. Elon Musk. That's what you got to do, right? And it's just crazy. But 100 years ago, 200 years ago, we wouldn't even know about that guy. We would just know the people kind of around us, and we could level to them. And then as we got to be really big in the city, then we'd learn about people in another city or maybe in a province or state. And then as we got big in that, we would learn. But we don't get the luxury of that anymore.
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. And now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Pete sent you.
You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, Stand Out from the Pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day HighLevel trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through gohighlevel.com/vid or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. gohighlevel.com/vid or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results.
Now we know, but like my 11-year-old the other day, his sister is on a scholarship for running. And so I was like, hey, maybe you're going to run. He literally says this, Dad, there's no point for me running. I'm like, why? He goes, look at Usain Bolt. I'm never going to be that fast. Why should I run? Wait, so you don't want to run because you don't think you'll be fast as the fastest man to ever have lived on the planet, which may or may not be true still. I might be dating myself. But no, that's not a reason not to run, son. That's crazy, but we do this. We look at what is out there and then we think, shit, it has to be at least that good. Your company is not Nike, right? Like it's not. But then you'll see how Nike ships their stuff and what their website looks like. Oh, we got to be that. Hey, truth is, go read the book, which is a really fascinating read, by the way. When Nike started, they sucked too. Like they made the waffle shoe by literally putting plastic in a waffle maker. You know what I mean? That's not cool. That's not what they do now. But of course, they've grown to that, right? So it's like I once sat next to one of the most successful TV shows of all time. I'm dating myself again, but I just randomly on a flight, I sat next to one of the executive producers of Law and Order, which is, I think there's, I don't know how many Law and Orders there are, but it's a lot, right? They're not just a hit TV show. They're like a hit genre almost, right? And I was talking to her. I said, look, what do you think is the secret to the success? What do you, if you had to say one thing? And she, with no hesitation, said GEFT, GEFT. I'm like, what is GEFT? She's good enough for TV. She's good enough for TV. She's like, whenever we hit a break, whenever we hit a creative problem or a problem with the set or issue, we said, what can we make it good enough for TV? We're not making high art. We're not decorating the basilica for all time. We're making a good show. Is it good enough for TV? She said, and what is amazing is when we use that as a frame, a lot of times we'd say, oh, do this. And then we'd find one little improvement and then it would actually be great. You know, she said, we'd end up winning awards for the stuff that we thought at the moment was like, it's good enough. We got to get it out.
Yeah.
And I just think that if you're not shipping it, because the perfectly planned is crap. Shitty delivered, like shitty shipped is better than perfectly planned, period. Like every time.
Okay, perfect. So there is a range, and there is the extreme perfectionist who doesn't release anything. He doesn't publish the website. It has to be like super done. So I'm not that guy. Then there's, there's less of that where it's like you release something, but before you release it, you're going to get it looking quite pretty and a bit more dialed in. Then you get it out. Then you iterate as you go. So I do that. But then there is the other end of the range, which is some people I've seen in the HighLevel community. They go in, super ugly funnel. They don't worry about anything else. They just dial in on just this one thing, one market. They just offer this one feature, package it up as an offer, and they do so well.
Because what is the winning principle in business? There's only one thing that matters, right? It's only one thing is, does it make money?
Yeah, okay.
That's it. And me and you forget that because we think there's bonus points for looking great. And we think there's, but the bottom line is, hey, is it converting? What does the data say? Are there more dollars in my bank account today than yesterday? Am I willing to look kind of dumb? Early in my career, so this is crazy. I went to BYU for a history degree. I needed a job to pay for that. I ended up selling video trainings. This is back with VHS tapes and DVDs, video training for computer programming with a company. And I got to be really good at selling it because I would watch all of the program. Like at a point, I knew all the programming languages on the earth, but that's because there weren't very many. Now that's not true anymore. Now I couldn't even name half of them. Right. But I learned the products and then I could sell them really well. I got to be the top salesperson. The owner of the company brought me to a trade show, and they were a really cool, forward-thinking tech company, this beautiful booth. And then out front of the booth was this ugly ass, like 70s looking weird thing with these holographic it was just terrible. And I was like, Clint, why do you put that out there? He's, I don't know, but every time we do, our sales are 15% higher. I'm like, man, there's no way that like the 70s looking thing is the key. He goes, I tell you what, we'll leave it up today. We'll take it down tomorrow. We'll put it up the next day. And sure as shit, man, it was 10% higher the days that we had that ugly thing out front. And it was interesting because my next question as a person who's sometimes too perfectionist to make money was like, why? I don't understand that. But Clint, who is multimillionaire so many times over and owns lots of companies, didn't care why. He just noticed that the data moved, and so he just put it out. When it's out, we make more money. Awesome. Let's buy 2 of them. Why? I don't know. When they're out, if 2 of them don't double the money, cool. Maybe we just have 1. Like it's just listening, I think, following the dollars. It's not, if it works, great. Now, does that guy have return problems? Does that guy? Maybe. But I mean, I don't know. I think that having it shipped and delivered, right? Really embracing this minimal viable product, right? Hey, what is the minimum thing that we can do that really produces value? Because that's the thing. If you don't ship it, you're not producing value, right? Now, if there's no value, people won't come back. I get that. So I'm not saying be a shyster and pretend, but at the end of the day, there's a lot you can do on the lower end and then bring it up.
Everything you say makes perfect sense. Data-driven decision and all that stuff. Unfortunately, though, it always falls back onto the actual founder and their decision to even start with something like that. And I found a lot of times it's got to do with limiting beliefs. And that's something that you help waking up that sleeping giant. Can you explain that concept and how do you help?
If you want to see a horrible website that doesn't work and makes no sense, go to itscoachkevin.com right now. That's my website right now. I think there's like gaps. I don't even know if it works all the way, right? And I have this story like you that I need a better website. I need something that portrays. I need a lead magnet. But about a year ago, I've realized that I was not listening to my own advice. And I was trying to get my persona and my stuff all perfect before I really launched out into the world. And I realized that's what crap is that? Like, no, just be me. Just go do the thing that I want to do, right? Because the limiting belief is I'm not good enough without. And then just insert whatever it is. But that isn't true. Like that can't be true, right? Like all these other guys, and I've worked with some of the most high-end coaches on the planet, right? I often am in very high-level organizations. I'm like the number 2 or 3 guy, right? That's kind of been my MO. And it's been awesome for me. I've coached a lot. But you start meeting enough of the guys at the top and you start seeing they're not special. They're not different than you are. Like you meet enough of these really big guys who just have it all going for them and you hang out with them for 6 hours and you're like, man, okay, that's not that unique. But they have the confidence to move. They have the confidence to ship. I'm not saying there's nothing to it, but I am saying that we're not like, you have kids. I see that you're married. I don't know if you have any kids.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got a son.
Perfect. How old's your son?
5.
5. You remember when he was born, or have you forgotten that already? Did toddler erase that from you?
I remember when he was born because we checked in. Literally, we got a call from a doctor. She says, "Yeah, I think you guys can pack your suitcases and come check in a hospital." It was a public hospital, mind you. It's crazy. We checked in the day before my wife gave birth. So I was there with her in that room. She gave birth. I was there with her. After the birth, we stayed for 3 more days. And I was just lying on the ground next to her in the room. I remember it very well.
So you remember that moment when your son was born, and it's like this infinite. If you've ever seen this, for me, I've had the blessing of seeing this 4 times. I have 5 kids, but I've seen the birth 4 times.
Wow.
It's this infinite value, right? But let me ask you this question. Your son, 2 seconds after he was born, what did he do to give that infinite value that you felt? I mean, what had he done in those 2 seconds? I mean, maybe cry, maybe poop or pee, maybe, right? Like mostly just, it was his existence. Like
That's right. I was going to say, just being there, just seeing him like this, it's just this miracle. Like this, wow, this is real now. This is a human being. We created this. That's unreal.
How old are you right now?
38.
38 years ago, you were that same thing. So my question is, between then and 38 years later, why now do we have to do all this stuff? Why now is it like, I'm not worthy of X? Like when you saw your kid, you're like, whoa, most worthy thing that's ever existed. I mean, I feel the same way. And I had 4 of them, no credibility, because I thought they all were the best when they were, it's just, we all do this because we recognize the value of a human being. And a lot of what screws us up is you would make a terrible me and I would make a terrible you. And in the age of social media, when I really believe we weren't designed to see this many people's experience, right? We were kind of, our hardware is kind of like for 150, 200 people, we can figure that out. We can find our place in that. Trying to find your place in, there's only one of you. You're one of, let's say, roughly 7.5 billion. We don't even understand the number 7.5. The number 7.5 billion is so big, we don't even get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example, right? So 1 million seconds, and we can look this up, but I'm pretty close on the numbers, right? How often do you experience 1 million seconds in your life?
What is that? I'm not really good at counting in my head like that.
It's okay.
But
it's 12 days ish. It's 11.5 days.
Okay.
Right. So 1 million seconds is 11.5 days. Right. So you get a lot of those. Like it's not rare, 1 million seconds. Right. But let me ask you this. How often do you get 1 billion seconds? Watch this. Are you ready? Because I'm about to blow your mind. Every 32 years. Every 32 years. So you get 1 million seconds every 12 days. So in 2 weeks, you get more than 1 million seconds. But to get 1 billion seconds, you might get 3 billion in your life. Maybe. Right. If you live to 93. You get 3. So it's rare that people get 3, right? Most people only see 1 billion seconds twice. Why does that matter? I'm telling you, you're 1 in 7.5 billion. You can't even understand how unique that is. Now, everyone else is the same amount unique. Where we start getting into imposter syndrome is we start thinking, well, I have to be Nike as a business person. I'm gonna do Go High Level. And I see the top 10 guys who do Go High Level. And coaches will tell you this. Go look what's working. Pattern yourself after them. Do what they do. To a point, that's kind of interesting because at least you start to learn the game. In the
It's logical.
context of I'm learning the game, that's great, right? So if I'm learning the game, of course I'm going to go out to the field, see how everyone else is playing. But eventually, I have to figure out that I play the game differently, right? So me, you can't really tell this on the screen, but I'm 6'4", 310 pounds, right? I'm a huge dude. Again, you can't tell that. But if me and you were going to get into a jujitsu match with someone else, guess what? Me and you would have different moves. Well, I'm really big. I'm not going to do like cute stuff underneath. I'm just going to try to overwhelm. And I'm going to have these moves that are like, I can reach farther than him. I'm stronger than him. I have more leverage than him. A smaller guy could win the match, but he can't win the match trying to be someone he's not. If you're, if you're 5'10" and 160 pounds, you can still win the match, but you can't win the match trying to be like me. Right. And I can't win the match trying to be like you. In business, for some reason, we tend to do this. It's I got to be like Mosey, or I got to be like Patrick and David, right? Maybe if that's your thing.
I was going to say a caveat to that is like that whole the perfection. Is it what is driving it? Is it because you want to be somebody else who's already done it? That's why you're trying to perfect it to get to that point. Or is it the perfection is just because it's what you are uniquely you enjoy? Like for me, it's I don't really try to compare myself against others. I just look at what I enjoy doing. I'm nerdy as hell. And so like when I'm designing more websites and like doing this, I really enjoy that. And I'm just trying to stretch it how far I can take it. And then when others see it, they're like, oh, this is cool. So it's like I get a validation. So I'm going to keep doing that. But then sometimes it's to my detriment because then I don't go into the prospecting and sales process of that. So I sometimes don't.
There's so many products that I have that are undelivered. I have 22 terabytes of video products that I've put together. About 12 terabytes of that have never seen the light of day. And what's crazy is I'm looking at it now. Some of that's from 10 years ago. I'm watching it like just the other week. Because I gave we had a similar conversation. I was like, man, I'm gonna go look up at some of my old stuff I never released. It's pretty damn good. Like when I'm looking at it, I'm like, why didn't I release this? It's not perfect. I'm better now. But I just, I think some of it, because I hear two things that you're saying. One is like this strive for perfectionism, which I'm very much against, right? But the other one is I want to be in integrity with what I think is quality. So in other words, I think that's great. If I don't think that I'm putting out a quality product for my client and I don't have the integrity, okay, cool. Then I'll work harder for it because I want to be able to say, hey, this is worth the money, and hey, I put me into this. Cool. But integrity and perfection are way far apart, right? Like they're way far apart. And there's times I think as agencies, I'm assuming you have a lot of them that watch the podcast, that you promise the client that they'll have a door on the building. And then the client comes back, yeah, that diamond studded oak door, right? And then you don't know how to say, no, I promised a door. I didn't promise that. So let's talk about which door. We get nervous because we don't want to lose the client. We get scared. And then we're like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll do the oak diamond studded door for the same price as the steel door.
And then you got a scope creeps in and then you're out of profit.
Yeah. But that is not a client problem and that is not a systems problem. That is your own confidence to say, whoa, hey, when I quoted the door, I was thinking steel door. If you want the oak diamond studded door, cool. Here's what it costs. Here's the difference. And here's how we could mitigate that. Or here's, maybe we can throw off the east wing of the house to afford the door. That's fine too.
Yeah. One of my mates found a really cool way around this. He's got a pretty big agency down in Adelaide. And literally he goes above and beyond. He spends a lot more extra time in the discovery stage with the client, maps everything out. And then he literally documents in detail what the fulfillment will be, and then gets them to sign off on it. And then anything that's that's a scope creep, he bills extra. But he's got a document that they signed.
Yeah.
There's no arguments there.
It helps a lot to do that. And I've seen people with those signed documents still have scope creep and still get, because they just don't have the confidence in themselves to say, hey, what I'm doing has a value and here's what that value is. They kind of claim it, Yes, you need a client, but also the client needs you, right? Also the client needs what you have. I mean, otherwise, I don't know, you're not in a very good business.
You're not By the way, guys, one caveat to that process I just mentioned with my mate, that's, but that only makes sense if you do it with high ticket projects because the amount of time he spends on documenting what's going to be delivered is a lot of time. So you got to make it, it's going to be justified. For smaller offers, really small productized offers, you kind of want to have that on your landing page and really outline and FAQs, and that's kind of it. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, even with all of that, then there's the human aspect. Do you stand your ground, or do you bend over backwards for clients? Because I don't
Yeah,
think that's
I
right.
mean, I think everyone who's ever done development at some point. I mean, I remember doing the numbers on the
Mm.
first website. This is, I mean, 1998, right? Like we're hand coding, and I remember doing the math on I was like, oh, I made $1.14 an hour on this project. Awesome. I mean, I got great experience, and I knew how to do something most people didn't, but I just hadn't defended my value at all.
Kev, if somebody comes up to you and is like, mate, I want to do more. I want to have a truly fulfilling life and be the greatest I can be for me, for my family, for others. Can you help me up? Can you help me wake up that sleeping giant? Is there even something else that I haven't really? Is that am I at my true capacity here, standing in front of you, or how do you know? And
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So you're not dead. So you're not at your full capacity. So that's the first thing. Like the game's over when we die. First off, let's not rush life like a race or like some kind of business
Mm.
process, right? The point of life is not to get to the end. Like we have a lot of anxiety. We have a lot of young people who are very unhappy because we've raised them like racehorses, that all that matters is finishing. And if you take that approach to life, you have a problem because, that's the game, like game over. Like life is more like a dance. The purpose of it is not to finish it, it's to enjoy it. Or a song. Great songs, you're almost sad when they end, right? Because man, that was really good. So we're singing a song. So I always say the first thing is, if you're not dead, then you're not fully grown, right? That's when you're fully grown, at least in this iteration of you, is when you die. Maybe there's even more after that. I've never experienced that, so I won't coach about that. But truly, like that's the end. So if there's growth to be had in that I want, it's get very real with where am I and where do I really want to be. And people have a lot of problem with this. Can you really express what you truly want? What do you want? To be rich? What does that mean? Because when I was in college, if I had $3.50 in my account, I was rich. That was like 10 Taco Bell, tacos, and that felt great. Like $3 was plenty of money when I was in college. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't even know if $3 will buy you one taco at Taco Bell, which not sure why that's the go-to if you're not in college, but I don't even know if that will buy you a taco anymore. Right. So things change, but you got to be really honest with where am I really? If you've never made $1 million and your target is to make $1 million, that's tough, right? If you've never made 10 million, I'm sorry, if you've never made $10,000 and you set your target at, I want to make $1 million this year. I mean, good luck, right? Because the way life really works is if you've made 10,000, I bet you can make 25. If you've made 25, you can probably make 50. 50, you can jump to 100. Now you can start maybe thinking about 1 million, right? Oh, okay. I've figured out how to make 100,000. Cool. Maybe I'll go to 250, 500, right? Once you've made 1 million, you can make two. When you made two, you can make five. Right now, 5 to 10 and 10 to 50, way different games. Can't make 10 like you made five. Can't make 50 like you made 10, right? But you can start to target those things. And I think people think that they have to go to intensity, that intensity is what gets them there. I'm going to just grind it out. But the truth is, consistency is what gets you there. And if you can combine consistency and intensity, awesome. But people confuse. So they're like, oh, I want to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. So then they go to the gym for 2 hours, and then
And
they
it's
go to the
much
gym for 2 hours the next day. And then they're totally sore, burnt out because they haven't been to the gym at all. And then they go zero because they went to an intensity that made no sense. So if you can go to an intensity that you're consistent at, what can you do every day, right? The things that you want, like I'm guessing that a great life with your son is one of the things that you want. How do you grow that relationship as he grows, right?
mm,
It's not about what do you do this one time. It's what do you do every day to make that happen? And can you keep adjusting that to who he is along the way? And so it's about consistency. If you look at what can I do every day, right? Even if you're trying to make the $1 million, if you want to make $1 million and you don't know how much that is a month or a week or a day, then you're missing the point. Like, how much do you need to make a day in the time frame that you have set to make that million? Cool. Then start focusing on that, because that's what really matters. Is, hey, can I turn the 5K this day, or can I turn? Then things get really tangible. But other than that, things are just these weird pie in the sky things. Most people look at intensity. What's the most I can do? That's ridiculous. What is the most you can do every day? And then can you build that capacity?
yeah. And I think a lot of it stems from, other coaches and what's been put out there. And like, I don't know, you got people like Grant Cardone who goes 10x, you go intense, and you see him flying jets, and there's like, that seems like there's a proof to it. I know you've been pretty vocal about that, like a lot of coaching advice is fake or one size
Well,
fits all.
a lot of coaching advice is total bullshit. A lot of coaching advice is totally misunderstood too, because I'll tell you two coaches that seem like they're full of shit that I actually think are pretty awesome: Grant Cardone
Mm-hmm.
and David Goggins. If you just on the surface hear what people say about them, it's like, who's going to just go run 300 miles tomorrow? That's stupid, right? But if you actually meet the guys, if you actually listen to what they're actually saying, it's pretty damn good, because what they're saying is, hey, where's your limit? Go past that and then go past it again. And then, of course, their limit is way past ours. Why? They've been doing this for a long time. Like
Yeah.
I had a billionaire client one time, and I was coaching him about something. And I said a pretty common thing that coaches will say, right? It's like, hey, we all get the same 24 hours, right? Like we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So if someone else is accomplishing what you want, then you can accomplish it. He said something to me that changed my whole perception about this. He said, no, that's not true. What do you mean? Of course, I wake up, there's 24 hours. You wake up, there's 24 hours. And he said, yeah, but Kevin, I have 997 employees. So I don't get their whole 24 hours, but I get 8 to 10. Because let's just do the math, 10 hours a day times 997 people. I get a lot more hours in a day than you.
You can't compete
Oh,
that. Yeah.
he's playing a different game, right? He's playing a different game. So sometimes when you're hearing advice on that different game, people are like, hey, 10x, they're saying 10x, but get systems and things, right? So there
Yeah.
is a lot of stupid coaching out there that just
Within
work
your own
harder.
means, right? You got to take it to your own means, and how do you apply it within your own circumstances?
When I have clients that'll be like, hey, I made $1 million deal today, right? And I'm just kind of this is the kind of way I coach. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, man. Send me a screenshot of that deposit. That's awesome. Oh, like I made the deal. I just got a deposit. Oh, cool. Give me a screenshot of the deposit. You have to understand, like they need to get it tomorrow. Cool. Send it to me tomorrow. Right. And they made $1 million deal. But then when you look at the deposit, it's usually around 13, 20,000, which is awesome. What's wrong with 13, 20,000 that could build to $1 million? But we get so excited about the end, right, that we forget to just celebrate. Shoot, I just made 13 grand. Cool. That's on the way to what's real, instead of I'm nothing unless I have $1 million. No, hey, this 13 grand builds my next piece to my next 13 grand. So many coaches, I think, say, here's the formula that
Mm.
works. But that's the formula that worked either for them, maybe, because sometimes, I mean, I've seen a lot of guys, they're not even teaching stuff that they did. So I don't even know. But that worked for somebody, or that worked for the guy whose coaching program they went to, and then they copied it, and then they told you, this works, right? They don't know. What works for you? Again, what do you see moving the needle for you? And then hit there again and again. It's about consistency. If you're a great father and I'm a great father, that doesn't mean we're the same person. And we have totally different kids. We have totally different circumstances. So what is great father? How does a great father show up every day? And if I just continue to do that, awesome. But
So
it has
then,
to be for you.
absolutely. And look, I mean, I had a pretty good success after reading the 10x book back in 2015. So I'm not saying by all of
No,
that
yeah,
I'm,
I don't think you are. Yeah.
but there is another layer to it as well, which is information overload in general. There is a lot of coaching advice. Not saying it's all bad. A lot of it has relevance, but at the end of the day, it is an information overload. So where can our listeners, other people in general, like even begin building their own path to real success?
Perfect. I have a lot of younger clients right now. This is a new thing. This didn't used to be like this. I didn't used to have a problem of people consuming 3 hours of content in a day. If you go back 15 years, that I didn't see that as often. But they'll be like, yeah, I listen to this podcast every day to inspire me. I'm like, whoa, how long is that podcast? 3 hours. Okay, how long did it take you to get an actionable insight in that podcast? Maybe 40 minutes. Awesome. Next time, get to the actionable insight, pause, go do shit for the other 2 hours that actually, with that insight or not, that actually moves you forward in your life. It's great to consume information, but if you consume for 3 hours and you do nothing, like how about consume for 30 minutes and then do 2.5 hours of putting that into play? Because I mean, if you read a book 3 sentences at a time, but every 3 sentences you actually put it into play, at the end of that book, you are that book. And now you can just gobble up more. Like you've actually embodied the growth that you want. You can read the book 20 times on 4x speed, never implement anything, and really you've just wasted however much time that took you. It's just fluff. It's just, I mean, This is why I'm very careful about how much news I consume too. Because I mean, I think World War III has been starting every year for 50 years now, but it just feels like there's this endless pull for my attention. But what do I
Mm.
really get back out of it? And so I have to be really careful, and everyone should be really careful, because the results that you get in your life, right, are the sum total of all of your choices and actions. And your choices and actions are driven by what? By your beliefs. Where do your beliefs come from? They come from your thoughts. And everybody thinks it starts there. Yeah. So my thoughts grow to my beliefs, grow to my choices and actions, and then that gives me my life. But your thoughts are dictated by where you pay attention. You pay attention, you're spending your life, because that attention, whatever I'm looking at, and you know this, right? Like that first 3 days with your baby, all you thought about was baby. So all your thoughts were baby. All your beliefs became baby. All your choices and actions became baby. And that's kind of the foundation for being a great dad, right? But where your attention is going to dictate everything else in your life. And so you got to be really careful. You got to guard that. Nobody on listening to this would take all of their money out of the bank, walk down the street, and any random person who saw it, they would throw a wad of cash at it. But with our attention, we do that all the time. We walk in the office, anybody who walks up, anybody who calls, anybody who texts and says, hey, can I get a quick one-on-one? We're just more than willing to give that away. But wow, you're giving away your results if you're not careful. Curate, reserve that.
Yeah, no, it's lately I've been looking at the news, the Czech Republic news side, just looking at the news, what's happening in, because you don't really get that perspective here in Australia if you look at news. Then when I'm back in my home country and you're in Europe, it's okay, it's a bit more local. And we are going to move there as well in May. So I'm looking at it. And I have to say, I've been like in the morning, the first thing I wake up, I'll look at what's happened. And then in the evening, I'll look at what's happened because I want to know. And there's an argument for I want to be aware because I want to protect my family and I want to know if it, you know. But then at the same time, I'm doing exactly the wrong thing that you said.
So it's not even necessarily wrong or right, but think of it this way, right? So imagine that life is a giant ocean, right? And then you're a person in that ocean. And with your attention, right? So many people are just floating in that ocean and they think that whatever waves come, that's, oh, the market did this, or, oh, the housing scandal, or this person slept with that person and that ruined the economy, and this person should go to jail, and that person did go to jail. Now nothing happened. And, I mean, it's like the endless. I guess I'm old enough that I've just heard the same story so long. It's, oh, they're just telling that story again. It's just that story again. But a lot of people today, not most, but a lot, are just hanging on, thinking that they have a life preserver out there in the ocean, and they're just hoping that the right wave brings them where they want to go. But the truth is, we're all on a surfboard. Like, we're on a surfboard. Can you treat a surfboard like a life preserver? Yes, you can. You can just hang on to it and float there and let the waves move you wherever you want. Or you can get up on it and get a little perspective, or you can paddle, or you can, maybe not me, because I've tried, I can't. Maybe you can surf. Not me. I'll just paddle on it because that's about as good as I get. But what we have to remember is that we also are a force of nature. So it's not bad that you're saying, hey, what are the forces of nature at play where I'm going? I think that's fine. That's good. Right. But when we start to think that's what's going to drive our success or failure, that's the problem, because you also are a force of nature. I am a force of nature. I'm not the only one. I'm not the biggest one. There are times when life will just knock you on your ass. Like, I'm a Hurricane Katrina survivor. I saw it. It just knocked the whole damn world right there on its ass for 6 months. Cool. But guess what? We got up. Cool. And then we did these other things, right? Unless you were some of the people who died, your story wasn't over, and you re-exerted yourself, because yeah, life's this big, scary ocean that doesn't care about you. And if you know how to leverage it, it can be really fun and awesome for your family. So I think, I probably wouldn't go and scroll what's happening there first, because I would prioritize me first. I'd say, hey, this first hour is for me and my family. What do I need to learn to be a better dad? What do I need to do to keep my body in order? Right. I haven't always done that, but that's what I prioritize now. And then, yeah, hey, a couple hours in the day or maybe later in the night. Cool. Whenever I'm like tired and I can't make good decisions anyway, perfect time to go figure out what's happening in the news.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes,
10 minutes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in a small doses. But even then, when you say at the end of the day, it depends if you act on it, right? But that's more conscious mind. But then there's the subconscious. So you don't really know if it's actually impacting you in May, right? And it might be these subtle little changes in your behavior that you don't even realize.
100% it is, right? Because remember, like, we're all digital marketers here, right? Like, we all know that who's the invisible hand on the internet? It's us, the guys running ads, right? I'm not being shown Jeff's post and then Laura's post and then Keith's post because that's what's most interesting to me. I'm being shown those because they all have dogs in them. And the next thing is going to be an ad to try to sell me dog food for my dog that the system knows that I have, right? And so when is that, I'm not saying that it's just evil, but is that the thing you want to drive your attention? When you understand that from the field of your attention grows your thoughts, and from the field of your thoughts grow your beliefs, and from the field of your beliefs grow your choices and actions, and from that field is your life. The sum total of your choices and actions, welcome to your life. And now, if you're a newborn, if you're your son, that's not exactly true. Mom and dad's choices, lots of other people's choices matter. But as a full grown adult, that's it. So where you're putting your attention, man, is so important. And as I've demoted the news, because I just started to see, if I go to this site, they want me to think this. And if I go to this site, they want me to think that.
Yeah.
As I took 5 years off of social media. Go check out my social. There's just nothing. Because I was like, no, I'm not letting anyone control my mind. And then about a year ago or 6 months ago, I woke up and I was like, the whole world's there. I maybe should play a little bit, right? But I have systems to keep me away. I'll respond to someone's comment on a post of mine because my executive assistant or someone who's assigned gets the comment, brings it to me. I tell them what to post. I try to stay off because I just
Good.
don't want that control.
I like that. Yeah, that's very focused.
It is literal. If there is a system, and everybody who's listening to this knows, if there is a system that's mining your attention, and dude, I mean, Clash Royale, it doesn't have to be social media, like whatever it is. If it's mining your attention, it's mining your life. It's taking away your life. Now, look, if you're giving it that on purpose, because look, you have a kid, I have 5 kids. They mine for my attention all the time, but I will happily give them my life. I'm okay with them controlling pieces of my life. If you're doing it on purpose, like an hour wasted that really brings you joy is not wasted. If I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to do this Instagram thing for a while because it's fun for me, I get something out of it, cool, that's fine. But that's doing it on purpose. And I think a lot of people are doing this kind of mindlessly, not realizing, what they're handing over.
Yeah, I mean, it's on purpose, or it's also maybe just part of a habitual thing because we are creatures of habits. If you have that habit, how do you break away from it, right? It's a bad habit.
So let's all remember, in my opinion, addiction is a choice. At some point, it was a choice. I mean, eventually it's not a choice, right? But at some point, it was a choice. So I do live events quite often. They're 3 days, 4 days, 5 days long. And we will very often, you show up to a live event and we just take your phone. Now, we tell you this is going to happen. We tell you you're not going to be in touch with your family, etc. We just take the phone. And then 3 days later, people have these incredible breakthroughs. And I always laugh with the coaches behind the scene. I'm like, yes, we're great coaches. Yes, this is a great event. But I think 60% of the breakthroughs are happening because for the first time in years, they're not responding to every click, buzz, and whir of life. Like, we convince ourselves that if we don't answer the buzz, if this ding doesn't get answered, we're, I don't know what's going to happen. But man, it's amazing if you just put it down. Just plan a day. Let people know where you are. Get a flip phone. For just your spouse. Only give the number to your spouse or whoever, has to know in case something really bad happens. And just see you'll find that the world doesn't really, you're not that big a deal. The world doesn't fall apart if you don't answer. We talked about this earlier. It's like knowing how to ignore things, right? You can send me a text message. You should call my cell phone. I'm like, hey, look, voicemail's dead. If you have an emotional need to leave one, great. I'm not going to listen to it though. Just text me. We don't need to do this anymore, right? But that is, again, like making a choice and making a choice to turn it on and off. This is being on purpose, right? Yes, we've been conditioned. Yes, technology has scratched a very interesting itch in our psychology and in our biology. But remember, your biology has not changed that much. It's just not, it's not changed that much. Who you biologically are and who people biologically were 200, 300 years ago, about the same. Maybe you ate some more processed foods, but it's still the same hardware that's having the problem with the processed foods. It's not like evolution in humans happens in one generation. Your kid is not going to be 3 times taller than you. It's just not going to happen because it's not how it works. But remember, that hardware has a need too. Yes, you have this great mental capacity. Yes, you have this great soul, but you also have a body. And if you're not taking care of that, if you're not thinking about it, if you're overclocking it, like every time you see a face, your mind does a threat detection. Every time. How many faces do you see scrolling? And then think about 200 years ago, how many faces would you see in a day? We're seeing a lot of faces. That's a lot of threat detection, right? And nowadays, we've even the added threat of that face might not even be a real person.
It's an interesting comment because yes, we are herd species, and so like when you were in school, for example, in your classroom, like there was maybe 25 other classmates, you kind of knew them, and you kind of found your space, you find your spot, and that made you kind of comfortable. And so yeah, it makes total sense what you're saying. Is if you're scrolling, you see all these other people, and some of them are like showing off their amazing lifestyles, or somebody else is showing off, I don't know, something else, and that all has an influence. So I think all in all, it's what we need to understand is like you need to create conditions in your environment so that you can be more present to what truly matters.
Exactly. To be able to prioritize what matters to you. But the first thing that you really need to know is what does matter to you. What do you want? And I mean, like, people overblow this. This drives me crazy because of vision boards and the billion. I mean, you say you want $1 billion, everybody will clap, and it's awesome. You know, you don't even know if you want a billion. Have you ever had $1 billion? Like, that means at some point you're going to owe somebody hundreds of millions. You really want to owe somebody hundreds of millions because there's really kind of no way to get there that doesn't include that. And, you know, maybe find out what it is you really want. If you just want a really cool motorbike because it makes you feel hot and girls want you, and that's like super petty and dumb. But if that's really what you want, cool. Give yourself permission to like sit down one day and just write down, what do I really want? Really, not the thing I'm going to put on the internet, not the thing I'm going to tell people at church, not the thing. What do I really want? Across there's to me, there's five major aspects of life, right? So there's fitness, which is like your physical health, your output and your input. So it's nutrition, output, input. There's faith, which is the unseen part of you. This could include religion, but it doesn't have to. There is something that connects the whole of who you are together that is cosmically bigger than anything. So there's that unseen part of you. Maybe you just think that's your subconscious. That's fine. That's okay. But you'd better understand that unseen part of you, right? So you have fitness, faith, you have family. Now, that is the family maybe that if you have a spouse and children, so maybe it's your immediate family. Maybe you have parents and you live with them. Also, the family you choose, right? So your friends, the people who you count as family. There's this saying that everybody talks about is like blood is thicker than water, right? What's really funny about that saying is that's a very small part of something saying the complete opposite. The real phrase, right, is that the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Meaning the people that I covenant with, the people that I say, hey man, I got you, you got me, are more family to me than just the person I was randomly born to. Right. And that doesn't mean you can't make that covenant with the family you were born to. Great. But that also is a choice. So when I say family, I don't just mean the random family you were born to, but actually like the people who you count family. And if you don't count anyone family, wake up, man. You're not going to make it in this life alone, period. You're just not. Like the strongest guy in the room is not the guy who needs nobody. It's the guy who has the biggest network to support him when shit goes wrong, because shit's going to go wrong and you're going to need them. Question is, do you have them when you do? Right. So again, fitness, faith, family, and then finances. You got to figure that shit out. Finances matter. Money makes the world go round. Money's not scarce. There's money everywhere. I can tell your listeners, every dollar you're ever going to make, where is it right now? In someone else's pocket. And all you got to figure out is what moves it from their pocket to yours, right? And then eventually it'll move from your pocket to someone else's. And that's great. That's how it works. So, and then the final thing for me is fun, which I just mean as joy. Enjoy your life. Find joy. Yes, if I've dialed in fitness, faith, family, and finance, and I hate my life, I've done something horrible. That's not good. That's not greatness.
Something's not aligned.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, normally when you get those four things together, that joy comes kind of naturally. But there are people who just force it. They think they have to be miserable.
I think this is a great segue to the next question, which may be what lies in that problem, which is ego. Let's talk about ego. Most people either ignore it or try to destroy it. What does it look like to actually master your ego instead?
Yeah. So your ego is this crazy thing. In order to become an adult, you have to form one. You have to. You would never be a separate person. You never have your individuality. You would not become a real adult without it. So everybody's got to create one. But at some point, you have to figure out that it's not real. that you don't actually live between your eyes and your brain, right? If I ask you right now, like, where is your mind? Everybody will point to the same spot. And really, there's your prefrontal cortex. I mean, that's where it all goes down. That's the mind. That's the ego, right? And your mind is a survival tool. Remember, your mind has one job, keep you alive, and then it has a 1.5 job, which is to communicate with other minds, which really serves the first job, which is to keep you alive. Because if you can't communicate with other people, you can't stay alive. So you have a survival tool, the world's greatest survival tool. I mean, in my opinion, God's greatest creation, right? You have this incredible survival tool that you can use to thrive, but it is not tuned to thrive. If I say, hey, man, something huge is about to fall on you, watch out, something's falling on you, whatever your mind just created wasn't $1 billion, wasn't, your partner naked, happy and excited to see you. It wasn't something good. Why? Because it's a survival tool. So when I say something's falling, it thinks of all the bad things, embraces you for that to try to protect you. But your mind doesn't care if you're happy. It just cares that you survive. If you want to use your mind to thrive and actually grow, you're going to have to transcend the mind. You're going to have to find a way. And I have a tool called the Spark, and I'll send you a link to a chat GPT that people can use. I'll get it to you in just a second, but it's called the Spark. And it's a way of training your mind to think different, because most of us just believe whatever thought happens. Like the thoughts that we have, we just believe them. Somebody hits us from behind at a stop sign, that asshole. Like, it's just right away, we've concocted a story, right? We don't know what's happening. Like maybe the person behind us is pushing our car out of the way of something more dangerous even behind them. We don't know, but we just concoct a story of this distracted driver who hurt us. And, the Spark is a tool to help us transcend that ego and say, hey, cool, I have some information. What I see is important, but I'm not the only perspective. As a human, yes, you got to develop the mask, the ego, but then you got to transcend it. You got to realize, man, I'm a force of nature, but I'm not the only one, right? And you've got to consider, what about the opposite of what you believe? Okay, you believe one thing. What about the opposite? Right? What about other perspectives on that? One of my favorite things to do, like when you can transcend the ego, when you can stop trying to be right or wrong, and you can start, and this is so big for business owners. Are you doing it the right way? This is, are we doing this the right way? Is such a useless conversation, right? Is this working or not working? Again, back to the money, right? When you say, I see guys put out crap and they're making money, and then I put out this beautiful stuff and nobody wants it, right?
Right.
Hey, is it right or wrong? I don't know, but is it working or not working? That is a way to transcend ego, because if I come into a meeting with my, chief marketing officer and I'm like, hey, are we doing socials right? What? That's almost like a blame weird conversation I have to have. I don't know. Yeah, it's right. Like industry standard and this. But if I say, hey, are our socials working? Now we're having a conversation, because what do you mean working? Are they bringing us paying clients? All right, let's go find out. Or are we getting more followers? Okay, let's go find out. So working, not working, very useful, very cool way to transcend ego. We like right and wrong because it puts the mind in control. Again, the survival tool, right? It can't be wrong. Why? Because if it's wrong, you could die. And so we just have this kind of mental armor. But the problem is your mind is wrong all the time. All the time. I'm divorced and remarried. I mean, I was going to stay with my first wife forever. She was the one, and that was it. But that wasn't true. It's, my mind was wrong, right? It made an error in judgment, and so did hers about me. So it's not like it's, it has to be somebody's fault. It could be my fault, but I was wrong. And if I cling to I'm right and here's why she's wrong, I can destroy the rest of my life. Why? Because I'll choose my ego and I'll try to use this survival tool to thrive, and it's just not going to work.
So there's this thing of you're egotistic, you're too ego, and then there's like the healthy ego. And then there's zero ego. Zero ego is bad. That's not good either.
Most of life, right? We see these dichotomies and we think that they're opposites. So should I have a strong ego or should I have no ego? Neither, right? You're right. Let me ask you this. Should you only inhale or should you only exhale? Well, I mean, hopefully you have a healthy balance of both, right? I mean, too much of either, you have a big problem that ends your life, right? And I think there's so many things like that, right? Should I be strong or should I be fast? Well, you have to find the balance that works for you. And that's what we do so naturally. Like a muscle can contract and a muscle can relax. Well, which one's right? They're both right. You need both. if you really look at life, it's this giant series of these opposites where we play inside of the left and right boundaries. And so, ego is the same thing. You have to grow one. If you don't grow a strong ego, a strong mind, you're dead in the water. But if you don't transcend it to realize you're not the only one, you'll never be able to hire. You'll be this crazy entrepreneur that you see where it's like they have all the answers. And so they have 10 employees, but all 10 employees are just in line to talk to them because nothing can happen unless they do it.
Yeah. Do you have the ability to self-reflect whether maybe you're too much of a dick and you got to pace it back a little bit?
Yeah. If you want a great way to transcend your ego, two things. One, take the person you disagree with the most, that you maybe hate the most or drives you the most insane, and make a list of 20 things that you think they're absolutely right about. But just look at the media. I don't know which side you fall on for all this stuff, right? Like the latest thing in America is like the Bad Bunny thing. You either hate it or you love it. I was watching the halftime show and I'm like, man, the internet's just going to eat itself into 50 pieces about this. It doesn't even matter what I think. It just, oh, okay, that's the new thing to polarize about. That's cool. You get a lot of mentions that way. Okay, cool. Right. But hey, if you hate them, great. If you love them, doesn't matter. But hey, think of something that you're like, that person is always wrong, and go write 20 things that you absolutely agree with them about. I promise you, it's not that hard. They're there. We're not all that different. Right. Another way to do this is to really just sit down with yourself and say, hey, what are 5 things that I'm messing up? What are 5 things that I'm doing that I know are keeping me from where I want to go, and I'm doing them anyway? That is not hard. Like, you can do that exercise in 10 seconds. However long it takes you to actually do that exercise is the amount this ego is in control and having you pretend that you know everything. And you just don't. You can't. It's not even like you're bad for not knowing. No one can. Right? No one can. So that ego, you want to see how hard it's in control. How willing are you to agree with your adversaries or the people who disagree with you on things that you agree with? Hey, man, me and you think it's great to live in the Czech Republic. I think it'd be great to move to the Philippines. We totally disagree where we're going to move our families, right? But you know what? We both agree that we really like steak. Great. I think steak's great. You think steak? I don't know that. I'm just assuming, right?
Yeah,
but
I do.
So,
yeah.
hey, we can agree on steak. So we're not going to move into the same neighborhood, but we can have steak together sometime. That'd be kind of fun. And for some reason, we're starting to lose that. And that is what keeps communities together. Thank God we disagree about stuff, because we can't all live in New York City. And you're seeing this like with the internet, right? It's like everybody wants to go to the same thing. Like, here's the new hot place. And so now the line for that place gets 5 hours long, and then 3 doors down, no one's at the same place, because that's the hot one. Right. And it just, I don't know. I really think like it's good that we have disagreements. And if you want to get your ego if you want to sit your ego down, agree with your enemies, find where you agree, see what you agree on. And next time someone says something totally dumb, like completely and ridiculously dumb, and you're like, that is horrible, think, what would I have to believe in order for that to be true? And if that was true in my world, right? So I have a daughter, we disagree a lot about politics, right? And the main thing is, like, she sees the history of the world as the history of the haves crushing the have-nots, right? That's how she sees the world. And I just have to remind myself, yeah, I guess if I believe that, then yeah, a lot of the things she thinks make sense. I don't believe that. I think that the history of the world is just the history of a whole lot of people trying to figure it out. And some people really get some, leverage. Some people don't. And I don't think that the people who are really killing it even have time to think about the little people a lot of times. Like, maybe that's the problem, but I don't think they're sitting there, how do we destroy the masses, right? I don't believe that. But if I did, I can see what she's afraid of, right? I'm the most capitalist free market guy you'll meet, but recently read the Communist Manifesto, because I was like, hey, what is this? Like, so many people are loving this thing. Have you read it? I mean, it didn't turn me communist. I wasn't scared if I read it, it would change me, right? But I read it and I was like, wow, I am communist. Like, my house is communist. Like, I think it's Nassim Taleb says, at home, he's a communist. In the market, he's a capitalist. But at home, it is how it goes. Like, my 5 kids are there. We don't divide out dinner by merit.
No, it's about the scale, I think, when it comes to these political difference. I think, yeah, like you say, like, it makes perfect sense in that small, like in a family household. Because I come from from a country that was, in a communist country until 89. So
and
there were some good things, there were some bad things, but
exactly. My problem with communism on the state level is it really tends to produce famines a lot. Like, it just, statistically, it's not real great. If you look at the masses, it statistically really doesn't perform. Again, that's working, not working. It's just like, hey, show me the place where it's working and we'll talk. And maybe there are some examples and I'll look at it. So, I mean, again, your ego is just thinking it's right. It's not your fault. Your mind is what keeps you alive. So of course it wants to be right, but you got to remember you're not always right. You just aren't like, and if you're even playing the game of right and wrong, you're losing, because the game of right and wrong is the internet fight. It's the endless and never ending battle of good and evil. And we're all just figuring out who's good, who's evil. Spoiler alert, all of us, we're both good and evil.
Mm.
Solzhenitsyn said it best, that the line between good and evil is written on every man's heart. And no matter how good you are, there's a small bastion of evil. And no matter how evil you are, there's this last bastion of good. Right. And so I don't like to play that right, wrong, good, evil game because it just doesn't go anywhere. But hey, what works for me in my business, or what works for me in my relationship, or what's working for me in my body, that I can measure. And so that's fun.
Yeah. I think also like a solution that would help society is if more people took more ownership of their own actions. Have you seen the book, The Extreme Ownership?
Sure. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That would solve a lot of problems if people like just kind of self-reflect more and not project on others.
Yeah. And I get it. We want to feel like everything is everybody else's fault, but life gets really fun if you just decide it's not that everything is my fault, but everything is my responsibility. And I think that's the difference, is like people want to play fault. Again, fault is like who's right, who's wrong. Like if I'm on a motorbike and I get into an intersection and someone runs me over and they ran a stoplight, my dying breath isn't, hey man, I had the right of way. It doesn't matter. They're wrong. But who ultimately is going to hold the full responsibility of that decision they made? I am, because I'm dying because I just got run over. And I think,
Mm.
like in life, if we stop looking for whose fault it is, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. It will matter later, because you want to see what players you don't trust and who's the people you don't want to work with. But in the immediate aftermath of anything that happens to you, if it's your life, it's your responsibility. And so if you stop thinking, well, whose fault is this? Whose responsibility is it? I mean, my cats knocked over like $100 worth of dishes the other night, just glass everywhere in the living room. Whose fault is that? What am I going to do? Send them a bill? I mean, whose responsibility is it? It's mine. I'm waking up to my living room with glass all over the place. Okay. It doesn't matter whose fault. Am I going to kick the cat? I mean, they're a cat. Like that's silly. But we do that because we want to assign fault, because fault makes us feel right, and right puts the ego in control. And then ego tells us, whew, you're good, man. But you're not good. Just take responsibility. And I think for most of us, truly, kids do that, right? Because the diaper at 3 a.m, or the sixth time they've thrown up that night, it's the baby's fault, but you can't blame a baby. So you just learn to take responsibility and handle it.
Kev, this has been great. We've dived into
Hey,
some pretty deep topics here. I haven't had like a mindset coach on an interview yet. I used to have another podcast called Success Inspired, where I've had a lot of mindset coaches like that. So it was great having you on, man. I think this is a bit of a fresh perspective for the guys listening, because a lot of times we just nerd out on the latest and greatest of high level and talk about business and strategies and tactics. But just wanted to say I appreciate you being on and sharing a journey. You had a lot of really cool stories and anecdotes. So that's been very helpful to me to comprehend even more. So thank you. Yeah, just want to say thank you so much for jumping on, man. For the guys that are listening to this point, which I hope they are, how can they find out more about what you do? You mentioned some tools. You
yeah,
mentioned the Spark. Do you want to just give the guys a
sure.
bit of a
Yeah. So I'll put a link I built a chat GPT to walk you through a daily spark that'll have you challenging your own mindset, etc. I'll put the link to that. Everybody can just have that for free. You can find me at is Coach Kevin on pretty much any social media. And look, if you want to be part of the solution in education, if you want to stop saying this is horrible and start saying this is what works. And I've seen my 11-year-old now as a 9-year-old completely frustrated in a system that couldn't teach him what he really needed to know,
hmm.
now be really activated and thriving. Yeah, check out Apogee Strong. We have some really cool stuff, really cool ways to be the solution, whether that be in your own home or in your community. But yeah, the main thing is, hey, you are a legend. Like I'm a legend. I'm a force of nature and I'm legend. The truth is, every single person who heard me say that is also a legend, right? You are one of one. In a subset of one, all statistics break down. In a subset of one, like you are completely unique and powerful. You just have to own that and move forward. Like, wake up, okay, life knocked you on your ass. Awesome. Wipe the snot from your nose, stand up, and just take the next step. And that is what this is all about. That is the game. That's what Go High Level is all about. It's the people who are successful in Go High Level are just doing the consistent things that work. That's it. And when they get knocked over, they get up and they build it a little bit better, and they do the consistent things that work. So, hey, I really appreciate the time. Thank you for having me on. I know mindset is a little bit different for a Go High Level, but the truth is, it's what's underneath all of the success and failure in Go High Level. Yeah, there's the tech, but underneath that is a mindset of someone trying to create value, and that hasn't changed in a million years.
Couldn't have said it better, Kev. Thank you so much, mate.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the High Level Experience. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your personal qualities, please head over to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.